evening and welcome to Thursday's edition of the Regional News. Prime Minister Dr. Kit Rowley announced he will officially resign from office on March 16. Dr. Rowley spoke about the end of his tenure in public service, as well saying, quote-unquote, "I too am ending my tenure in public service, thankfully not sadly, but with a certain amount of satisfaction." He reflected on the nature of political life, reminding everyone that it is always temporary. Looking back on his time in office, he said, quote-unquote, "I do so with some satisfaction that my presence among my colleagues and national community would have contributed to national development, and I would have done something good with you and for you." He spoke about the challenges of leadership, particularly the difficulty in managing national projects with limited resources. U.S. President Donald Trump on Wednesday said he was reversing a license given to Chevron, opens no tab to operate in Venezuela by his predecessor Joe Biden more than 2 years ago, accusing President Nicolas Maduro of not making progress on electoral reforms and migrant returns. Trump did not name Chevron in his comments, but Washington granted Chevron a license to operate in Venezuela's oil sector on November 26, 2022. It was the only license the administration issued for Venezuela that day. U.S. Secretary of State said on X he will provide foreign policy guidance to terminate all Biden-era oil and gas licenses that have shamefully backrolled the illegitimate Maduro regime. Chevron exports about 240,000 barrels per day of crude from its Venezuela operations, over a quarter of the country's entire oil output. Ending the license means Chevron will no longer be able to export Venezuelan crude. The U.S. has recorded its first measles death in a decade after an unvaccinated child died in Texas. The death comes amid declining immunization rates nationwide, and as Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who was long spread falsehood around the measles, mumps, and rubella MMR vaccine, began his tenure as U.S. Health Secretary. Quote-unquote, "The school-aged child who was not vaccinated was hospitalized last week and tested positive for measles," the state health department said in a news release. Since the start of the year, more than 130 measles cases have been reported in West Texas and neighboring New Mexico. The vast majority is unvaccinated children. 18 have been hospitalized in Texas, and health officials warned that outbreak is likely to grow. Measles still kill over 100,000 individuals every year worldwide. Thank you for watching. I am TIANA Cole.